Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Thursday, as we just saw the most amount of long liquidations that we've seen since January 24th, with Bitcoin testing 41,950, the most important support level. Not a surprise for those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel. We predicted this yesterday with $500 million in Bitcoin entering exchanges and $500 million in Ethereum entering exchanges over the last 48 hours. This has been no surprise. We knew a sell-off was coming, but the question is, what are we going to see with Bitcoin now testing the most important support level? I'm here at a business class lounge about to fly out to Poland, but I had to get on the computer and get this update out to you guys. So first and foremost, on-chain metrics right now, we've seen about $100 million in Bitcoin entry exchanges, about $75 million in Ethereum entering exchanges. So it looks like there might be some more fuel to this sell-off. We're seeing $250,000 in USDT leave exchanges, which isn't a good thing for price because USDT is used to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and when that's leaving exchanges, it doesn't add more fuel to the bullish case. And so I'm going to address the bearish and bullish case as we always do here on the Snipers channel. We've been doing this for the last 5 years, every single day, the #1 cryptocurrency technical analysis on the internet. So smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content. And I'm about to go on this flight. And so I just want to quickly talk about what we need to expect with Bitcoin right now. Testing 41,950, why is this level so significant? We have the weekly open, the previous weekly open, and the volume support here at 41,950. And at this point, we have to discredit this bullish continuation candle from the 15th of February because the candle low was 42,400 and we've already breached that candle low. Testing the 50-day moving average right now for a third time. When you knock on a door multiple times, the likelihood that door opens becomes highly likely. And so there is a potential bearish case to talk about. I did mention the fact yesterday that if Bitcoin came back down to 41,950 and broke this level with decisive 4-hour and hourly candles, that there is a potential medium-term scenario where Bitcoin can actually come all the way down to 26,000 US dollars. So I want to address this scenario, whether it's still on the table, how this potentially could play out, and the likelihood of this playing out. And all of that's going to come with some of these more micro time frames. And we'll look at some of the revolving parts of the market as we always do here on the Snipers channel, like the S&P 500, commodities like gold and oil, because they all affect the Bitcoin price. Money just moves around in markets, and the goal is to follow the money. And so right now, with Bitcoin testing 41,950, if we start to get hourly and 4-hour decisive candles breaking below this level, we have to expect 38,000 US dollars to come back on the table, a retest of the monthly open and the extremely important volume support level, because the range that we'd be playing in if we breach 41,950 is going to be 38,000 and 41,950. Now, because we've already cleared the order books in this range, this is why I said specifically yesterday, if we come back down below 41,950, I believe there could be a case to make that Bitcoin has the potential not only to come down back towards the $34,000 level and test this area, but to even breach new yearly lows to potentially come down to the $25,880 to $24,000 level, where I believe Bitcoin can bottom out. Now, some people are saying Bitcoin can even go lower than this. And so I want to address this because, of course, we're seeing a lot of red today. We saw the most amount of long liquidations since January 24th. There are some bullish puzzle pieces I'll talk about. I'm a Bitcoin bull by heart, but at the end of the day, I have to address the bearish scenario if it's on the table. And so I don't believe that we can consider this inverse head and shoulder valid at this point if we come below 40,000 US dollars. 40,000 US dollars is a level that we could potentially hold and say that there's an inverse head and shoulder. But I think the likelihood of this schematics playing out at this point is very unlikely because of the fact that we already saw the test of 41,950 to form the right shoulder of this inverse head and shoulder, or whatever you want to call it, a cup and handle. And so now we're seeing a failure of that. And so we have to assume a different schematics is about to play out. And a lot of people were saying that maybe Bitcoin has been following the fractal that we initially formed here in July of 2021, where we saw 4 red daily candles followed by 4 green daily candles. And I said yesterday, this fractal is potentially off the table because if we were to follow this fractal, the 3rd daily candle should have broke the major resistance. And yesterday, our candle high was 44,751. just less than $50 shy of 44,800. That was the third daily candle, and we weren't able to breach the resistance. So we took that fractal off the table, and now we're seeing the continuation of this with a retest of this 50-day moving average. And so we have to realize that at this point, if we start to see further downside, that there could be a potential we can breach below this major channel support on the macro, but I do not believe Bitcoin can breach below its previous all-time high at 20,000 US dollars. Now, here's the thing that I really want to emphasize on this video. I don't think any of this could happen in an accelerated fashion. I know a lot of people are talking about PayPal right now, just seeing insane dumps. Just notice here, every single week we're seeing crazy price action to the downside here, way below the 200-week moving average for PayPal. And what's interesting about this is we're already breaching some of the highs that we made when we initially bottomed out in March of 2020, and we came back to the highs that were made around February of 2020. We're already seeing pretty much, I would say, pre-2020 prices at this point, with PayPal at 106 US dollars right now. And so we have to understand Bitcoin's a very different asset. I don't believe we'll see Bitcoin come below the 200-week moving average the way PayPal is. I think that PayPal has its own problems it's dealing with, and Bitcoin is a very different asset. So for those that are saying that Bitcoin is extremely bearish and could potentially come back down to the 200-week moving average, where the previous all-time high is sitting, maybe even below that to pre-2020 levels, I think that this is very unlikely, especially in the immediate short and medium term. I think that for the most part, as we know with the monthly MACD, we are seeing a bearish crossover. In the past, what that's justified for Bitcoin is just sideways price action. And so I think that the worst case scenario is we might see an elongated period of time of sideways price action, but this could all change if we start to see some of the revolving parts come into the favor of Bitcoin. Right now, they're not in the favor. And we also addressed that yesterday with the S&P 500 not getting above that 100-day moving average. That was a big concern for me, and the DXY pushing up. So there's certainly a bearish case to make. Would I be looking for long positions right now at 41,950 or even 38,000? I think that patience is the name of the game right now. You never want to catch a falling knife. And I think we have to really understand what's happening to the revolving parts before we make a decision on when to be taking long positions on Bitcoin, at least when it comes to margin trading, when it comes to dollar cost averaging. I certainly think if we come back below 38,000, any price below this level would be a great time to dollar cost average spot positions into Bitcoin. But staying away from margin right now until we find some confirmations of an uptrend is probably the best bet. So I just want to keep that on the table. And then if we look at what's happening right now to the revolving parts, the altcoins outside of Ethereum are actually holding this major support. We want this to hold, because if we see downside here, that indicates a lot of fear in the cryptocurrency market. We don't want fear in the market if we want to assume continued upside. And Bitcoin dominance moving up is also an indication of fear, almost towards our target of 44% dominance. What really matters is the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, because this leads all of the altcoins outside of Ethereum. It's the canary in the coal mine, kind of like how the Russell 2000 acts in traditional markets. The Ethereum to Bitcoin chart leads altcoins. And so we don't want to see the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart get back below 65,000 Satoshis. So far, we're seeing weakness because we broke out of the symmetrical triangle and now we're back inside of it, which is never a good thing, to break out of a pattern and then fail to see continuation of that pattern. And so I think that it's a very interesting time right now. There aren't much puzzle pieces in the total market cap to address, but what I will say is if we lose this 50-day moving average, that would be a big concern. And that could certainly happen if we cross below 1.78 trillion. That's a major level that opens up the door to a lot less in total market cap. And so the DXY, I'm going to say this, is actually doing what we want, which is staying calm. And so there's some positive puzzle pieces on the table. I wouldn't say that we're seeing a complete breakdown yet in S&P 500. We still potentially have a higher low forming, but we're still seeing a lot of weakness here, a lot more weakness in Bitcoin, since we have yet to even test the consolidation highs for the S&P 500. And so we want to monitor how this S&P 500 is going to want to close the week. But so far, we've rejected the monthly open right around 450 for SPY or 44.97 for the ES mini futures contract for the S&P 500. And so that rejection was on the table yesterday. We addressed that. And then if we look at what's happening to gold, we're seeing a push to the upside. And so that indicates real fear in institutional capital. We can blame this on any narrative we want. We can say Ukraine and Russia is the reason this is happening and go on and on with narratives, but the technical analysis is black and white. And the point is, if we're seeing gold move up, it is indicating fear in institutional capital, but I don't think we've got full decisiveness right now with this downside move. But what I will say is that Bitcoin is certainly testing the bulls at 41,950. If we start to see 6-hour sell volume come in, that could be a potential indicator of when we can be taking long positions, because we're already starting to see institutional buy pressure. And so maybe if we at least get some institutional sell pressure, it could maybe push the price to a point where it might look like a good long opportunity, depending on how the revolving parts are acting, and of course the fundamentals with that. And so I think that it's a very interesting time here. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on what's happening to Bitcoin in the comments below. And with that being said, this is going to be a quick update, but I'm going to be monitoring the price. If we breach 41,950, we really have to be cognizant of these areas here at 34,708 to 38,000, because that could be a level where we do see another higher low form, and that could be a place that we bounce. Like I said, yes, there is a downside potential breaking below 41,950 that we come to 26,000, but I don't think it's going to happen with this much immediateness. I don't think it's going to be like PayPal falling knife just coming down. I think that if we come back to 34,000, we'll certainly go sideways in this area here for some time, and then we can reassess the situation to see how volume is reacting, how are the revolving parts reacting, and then from there we can make a better educated decision. But never catch a falling knife, and realize that at this point 41,950 is really getting tested to the point where there's a high likelihood it could break. Hopefully it doesn't. We'll see. Maybe if I'm on the flight and I see something happen, I'll get a video out on my phone, as I like to do on the go. And so I'll monitor this for you guys, especially for those in the Discord. I'm still on the Discord with you guys each and every step of the battle. And with that, thank you all for tuning in today. I have a flight coming out, and I'll see you guys next time. Snipers.